and I'm here with Jeff Grant, SBR contributor, and today we're going to be looking at the game between the Detroit Tigers and the New York Yankees. So, Jeff, the Tigers are coming from sweeping the Rockies, and they should be worthy rivals on the road, considering that Miguel Cabrera's performance has been so good this season so far. But could you please elaborate a little bit more on how his performance has been working out for the Tigers, in spite of being the team a little bit worn out?
Well, Miguel Cabrera has been the best right-handed hitter in baseball over the last 5-7 years. So he has an effect on the game every time it comes to the plate. So when the pitcher sees him on the on-deck circle, the hitters in front of him definitely get better pitches, knowing that Cabrera is always a threat to leave the ballpark.
Right, and now as for New York, they're going to have Brett Gardner leading the offense once again in hopes that they can add to his eight home runs that he's done so far this past month. But in your article, you're talking about how he struggled somewhat. Can you explain a little bit on what that means?
Well, he's been going at a really good pace, and I was surprised that he has a double-digit home run figure. But when I mentioned in the article on sportsbookreview.com that he struggled specifically against tonight's opposing starter, 0 for 14 in his career against Max Scherzer.
Now, Scherzer clearly has the advantage in this scenario over over the other starter, Brandon McCarthy. But could you please give us a clearer picture of what we could expect from both of these starters? And, well, the most important question of all, which is going to be your lean for this game and why?
Well, this is the most important game that McCarthy has pitched in quite some time, facing the team that leads the AL Central Division. The Yankees won all of the starts since they acquired him from the Arizona Diamondbacks. He did not pitch well in the National League. He's been known as an American League pitcher, so he has grown comfortable in his surroundings in Yankee Stadium. But as you said, Max Scherzer has the edge. He's the reigning American League Cy Young Award winner, and he's had great success against the Bronx Bombers. So if you're looking to play this game, you definitely have to look at the road team. The Tigers, one of the best teams away from their home field this season.
So in that case, you're going to be leaning towards the Tigers. Now, you're taking them on the run, or are you going straight up for the money line?
I'm taking the Tigers over the Yankees on the money line. The Yankees should be fatigued in this one after playing that late game on Sunday night, ESPN Sunday Night Baseball against Boston. One of the more important factors to always handicap on Monday is to find if any teams are traveling after being featured on that primetime broadcast. So I expect Scherzer to have the best against the Yankees on Monday.
All right, man. Sounds like some good stuff. Thanks once again, Jeff. And for SportsbookReview.com, this is Dax Floyd. Right, Orioles Nationals, right?
Correct.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone, and I'm here with Jeff Grant, SBR contributor, and we're going to be looking at the games between the Baltimore Orioles and the Washington Nationals. And, Jeff, the Orioles have been battering... Welcome back, everyone, and I'm here with Jeff Grant, SBR contributor, and today we're going to be looking at... Shit, what the fuck, dude? Welcome back, everyone, and I'm here with Jeff Grant, SBR contributor, and we're going to be taking a look at that game between the Baltimore Orioles and the Washington Nationals. And, Jeff, the Orioles' batting average and on-base percentage since the All-Star break has been pretty poor for the team. But how is that affecting their pitching staff?
Well, it puts pressure on the pitching staff, but the pitching staff has responded with the third-best ERA in the AL over that span. It's really a flip-flop from last season where the Orioles were one of the better offensive teams in all of Major League Baseball. Of course, they play in an offensive-minded ballpark, but they play this one on the road. So they'll need another pitching performance here because they're going against one of the better pitching teams in the National League in the Washington Nationals.
Right now, as for Washington, how have they been able to achieve a 3.5-game lead over the Braves in the NL East? You know, considering that both Harper and Zimmerman are both in and out with injuries. And, you know, how have they actually been relying... Now, as for Washington, how have they actually been able to achieve a 3.5-game lead over the Braves in the NL East? You know, with both Harper and Zimmerman coming in and out with injuries. And have they been relying on anyone in particular?
Not necessarily. It's just the fact that the National League East Division is really poor this season. You have the Mets, you have the Phillies, not a lot of world beaters in there. So they're I got to go over too, guys.
Okay, no worries.
Just redo that whole thing.
All right. I'll go ahead and start over the whole question. Now, Jeff, as for Washington, how have they actually been able to achieve a 3.5-game lead over the Braves in the NL East? Considering that both Harper and Zimmerman are both in and out with injuries, is there any player in particular that they've actually had to rely on?
They haven't been relying on a lot of a certain player offensively. Denard Span's done a nice job at the leadoff spot at the top of the Nationals order, but the middle of the lineup has really been touch and go all season with Zimmerman and Harper being out. But really the Nationals have been most fortunate in playing in the National League East Division, as the Marlins, Mets, and also the Phillies have yet to really play their best baseball. So it's really the fact that the Nationals play in a poor NL East division.
All right, and now, the listed pitcher for this game is Gausman and Rourke. And, they're both very decent pitchers. But which one here, in this case, do you consider has the advantage? And where's your lean going to be for this game?
It's real. They're pretty evenly matched, as you mentioned, and they're both young pitchers, both in their second year in the professional ranks. So there's really not an edge in terms of the starting pitching matchup, which means that you really have to look at the bullpens. And in the last 2 weeks of baseball, since the All-Star break, arguably the Orioles have had the best bullpen over that span. The Nationals have really struggled, which was a strength at the beginning of the year. So that really gives an edge to the Orioles later in the innings in this one.
All right, so since the edge is going to the Orioles, are you going to take them straight up, or is there any bet in particular that you want to recommend?
They've gotten used to playing real close games over the last month, and I think that's really going to serve them well here. So I'm going to pick the Orioles as a moneyline road underdog against the Nationals on Monday.
All right, Jeff, thank you very much, and hope to have you soon once again. Sorry, hold on, let me start again. All right, Jeff, thank you very much, and I hope that we can have you back again here very soon.
Thank you.
And for SportsbookReview.com, this is Dax Floyd. Welcome back, everyone, and I'm here again with Jeff Grant, SBR contributor, and we're going to be looking at some college football games. One in particular right now is the Ohio State Buckeyes against the Navy. Oh, shit, I forgot their name. What are they? The Navy Mermen or whatnot?
Navy Midshipmen.
Midshipmen. That's right. It's just that I'm taking away the name so that I can force myself to remember them. The Midshipmen. Hey, welcome back, everyone, and I'm here with Jeff Grant, SBR contributor, and today we're going to be looking at the college game between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Navy Midshipmen. Son of a bitch. Welcome back, everyone, and I'm here with... Hey, everyone, welcome back, and I'm here with Jeff Grant, SBR contributor, and we're going to be taking a look at that college football game between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Navy Midshipmen. Son of a bitch. I'm just going to say Navy and Buckeyes. No. I'm just going to say Ohio State Navy. Shit. Welcome back, everyone, and I'm here today with Jeff Grant, SBR contributor, and we're going to be looking at that game between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Navy Midshipmen. And Jeff, with Urban Meyer as head coach for the Buckeyes, they've been able to put together a perfect 24-0 straight-up record. And considering that they have failed to cover the number in two of its neutral site affairs under Meyer, how would you think that this is going to affect when placing... God damn it, dude, what the fuck today? I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm sorry, dude. Welcome back, everyone, and I'm here with Jeff Grant, SBR contributor, and today we're going to be taking a look at the game between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Navy Midshipmen. And with... shit, Jesus Christ. Welcome back, everyone, and I'm here with Jeff Grant, SBR contributor, and today we're going to be taking a look at that college football game between Ohio State and Navy. So, Jeff, with Urban Meyer as a head coach for the Buckeyes, they've been able to put together a perfect 24-0 straight-up record. And considering that they have failed to cover the number in its two neutral site affairs under Meyer, how do you think that this is going to affect us when placing our bets?
Our viewers shouldn't put too much stock in those neutral site contests and not covering the spread. Those were the last two games that the Buckeyes played last year in the Big Ten Championship against Michigan State, and then really a lackluster performance against the Clemson Tigers, as the Buckeyes really didn't show up for that one. They were deflated in losing that championship game in hopes of reaching the national title game, so they were not in it mentally in that Orange Bowl game. So I wouldn't put too much in that, but Urban Meyer doesn't lose 3 games in a row, so it's hard to figure that the Buckeyes will lose in straight-up fashion, but I'm not quite sure if they're going to cover the spread. Definitely going to have to read up what's going on in Columbus over the next month leading into that season opener.
Right, definitely. Now, as for Navy, they've won 21 games against schools from the Power 5 conferences since 2003. But they're still 11-11 against the spread versus non-service academy opponents in the last couple of years. Do you think that this is going to improve considering that they will have plenty of their returning starters back for this season?
You know, the betting public has caught on with the Navy midshipmen and the fact that they are one of the better teams from a covering standpoint. And what I mean by Navy's against the spread success is they always give their best effort, while their opponent may not do that, and they're always usually getting points. But now that now that the betting public is more familiar with Navy, they'll be a favorite more. So as the season goes on, I'm not exactly sure that you should back Navy as a favorite, as they're normally an underdog, especially against the power conferences. But like I said, I definitely need to read up on this game more in terms of making a side selection. That's why I'm kind of looking toward the total.
And now that, we know how well Braxton Miller was under center last season, but considering that he's got 4 new starters on the offensive line, how do you think this is going to affect the team?
Normally it would be a major drawback, but these are Myers recruits. He's now in his 3rd year in Columbus, so he's brought basically all of this roster that you'll see in the 2014 campaign to campus. It was under his watch. So they'll be used to a system they've been in for a while, while the other starters that have moved on to the NFL